Okay, great. Good afternoon, dear Earthlings, and dear not yet vegans. Are there any not yet vegans here? Please raise your hand. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, now you're going to learn a lot. Because this presentation is for not yet vegans, and it's called Why We Need a Plant-Based Treaty. At first, I'm going to show you what our eating habits, our diets, what impact they have on not only on the climate, but also on our environment and many other things. And at the end, I'll explain why we need a plant-based treaty. So, did you know global warming or greenhouse gas emissions is not our only problem? Because in climate activism, we always say we need to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and that will save our future. But there are a lot more problems, because global warming is not only our only problem, it's not even our biggest or most urgent problem. Maybe you have heard of the planetary boundaries. They were developed by the Stockholm Resilience Center, and they calculated different areas of our planet, or different areas in which we are exceeding our safe operation space. And as you can see, climate change is the smallest one in the red area. There are three different boundaries that are still in the green safe operating space, but all the other planetary boundaries, they exceeded this green space far more than climate change. There are 9 planetary boundaries and 6 are already exceeded. And addressing only fossil fuels means ignoring most of the planetary boundaries critical for our survival. Because if we really solve the climate change problem, then we didn't address the problem of biodiversity loss, of soil degradation, of land use change, environmental damage, water usage, etc. So let's take a closer look at all those planetary boundaries, and let's ask the most important question: which human activity is the main driver of all those planetary boundaries? And the second question, as soon as we know that, what can I do to help mitigate those problems or reduce those problems? At first, we take a look at the biosphere integrity or biodiversity loss. That's a picture of Matthias Glaubrecht. He's a professor of biodiversity in Hamburg. And he once said in an interview with the Geo journal, ignoring species extinction could be mankind's biggest mistake. We might be able to reverse climate change, but we cannot reverse the extinction of species. Once they're gone, they're gone. Biodiversity is a genetic database. Imagine the biodiversity of our planet as a hard drive we keep deleting more and more data from. Maybe in the beginning just some memories get lost, but we also delete data which we have never had a look at, and even whole program parts whose function and meaning we have no idea of. Until the loss of data leads to a system crash and we do not have a backup. So that's the state of our biodiversity or biosphere integrity. The Chatham House, in cooperation with the UN Environmental Programme, did a food system impacts on biodiversity loss research. This is from February 2021. And the summary says, biodiversity loss is accelerating. The global food system is the primary driver of this trend. As a major contributor to global greenhouse gas emissions, our food systems also driving climate change, which further degrades habitats. So this is an additional factor for the biodiversity loss. And without reform of our food system, biodiversity loss will continue to accelerate. Further destruction of ecosystems and habitats will threaten our ability to sustain human population. I think this is very nicely formulated. The last sentence could also be formulated like if we don't stop this, we will all go extinct. Because if we can't, if we are not anymore able to sustain human populations, then we'll have a really big problem. The IPBES, it's the Intergovernmental Panel on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, if I'm right. They have a new report from last year, 2022, and they say land use change has had the largest relative negative impact on nature since 1970s, followed by overexploitation of animals and plants, and agricultural expansion is the most widespread form of land use change. So we see here that agriculture somehow is the main driver of species extinction and biodiversity loss. So let's skip to land use change, and there you see on the top that's the whole of Earth's surface. And the ocean is at the right. It's, we can't do agriculture in the water, so only the 29% of the Earth that are land are interesting for us. And 71% of that land surface is only habitable. We can use it. The rest is glaciers or deserts, things we can't really use. And 50% of this habitable land is for agriculture. When I talk to people on the street, many say, "Oh, the biggest problem is that we have so many cities and so many concrete roads." But cities and concrete roads make up only 1% of this habitable land. 50% is destroyed for agriculture, and we have only 37% of forests left and 11% of shrub. So this is the rest of nature that we didn't touch yet. From this 50% that we use for agriculture, 77% we use to produce animal products, meat, dairy, eggs, and only 23% we use for plant-based foods. But those 77% of agricultural area, of agricultural land, produce only 18% of the global calorie intake. So it's quite an inefficient system. We lose a lot of energy, a lot of resources on the way when we transform them from agricultural produce to animal products. The last column is protein. It's a little bit more, so the 77% of agricultural land produce 37% of the proteins. But most of what is eaten in the world is produced on those 23% of agricultural land. So plant-based food is very land efficient, I'd say. This stat is from the UN Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO. There's a different number from meta-analysis from Poor and Nemecek from 2018. And they calculated that 83% of agricultural land are used for animal products. It doesn't matter if it's 77 or 83, it's quite a lot. If everyone in the world went vegan, then you get the last column at the bottom, and that means we could free up 75% of our agricultural land. We wouldn't need it anymore to feed ourselves. We'd even feed all the people who get hungry, who are starving right now. It's about 800 million people starving, and on a vegan diet, everyone would be fed, everyone would be healthy, and we'd use only 25% of our current agricultural land. And when we take a closer look on the products we eat, then you see I made the animal products in red and the plant-based products in green. And as you can see, the animal products tend to be on the high end of this scale. This is land use per kilogram of food product, And yeah, well, most plant-based foods need next to nothing in land area, and animal products tend to use a lot of agricultural land. The next planetary boundary I want to look into is biogeochemical flows. It's about nutrients in our soil, and as you can see, eutrophying emissions, that's acidification of the soil, for example. Again, the animal products are on the top, on the bigger. They have the bigger columns. There's a really nice book. Unfortunately, is only in German right now because it's quite new. I read it in March. And it's about the global overdose of nitrogen, because nitrogen is a really problematic. What is it? A molecule? Atom? I don't know. Element. Right. Nitrogen is a very problematic element. On Earth, we have not too much nitrogen. And over the course of our history, we needed ever more nitrogen to produce agricultural food, to grow crops. And so we invented the Haber-Bosch Verfahren, I don't know in English. Process. So we can get nitrogen from out of the air, and today we have about, in our bodies, when you look at the nitrogen in our bodies, 50% of the nitrogen in our bodies comes from the Haber-Bosch process. So we raised the amount of nitrogen, of active nitrogen that's in the cycle, we doubled it. And this is a really big problem because it leads to biodiversity loss, because plants who like nitrogen, they grow faster and they shade all the other plants. So plant species are disappearing. Nitrogen is also a main ingredient for nitrous oxide, which is a very, very potent greenhouse gas. It leads to aerosols, which are very unhealthy for us. And yeah, it's for those of you who speak German, I'll recommend to read this book because it's very, very important, and it's a fact that's rarely talked about. Let's talk about the water usage. On the left, you see all the available fresh water, and this is only 0.007% of all the water on Earth, because the most water is salt water, and it's even only 0.28% of all fresh water, because most of the fresh water is stored in glaciers or in underground storages. So this is only what's available to us. And as you can see, 70% is used for agricultural uses. 11% of this water goes to domestic use. So when you open the tap and take a shower, this is the 11%. 19% go to the industry for some industrial processes. But most of the available fresh water is used for agriculture. And as you can see, from the agricultural water usage, 29% are used for animal agriculture. You'd say, okay, then those 71 are more, but those 71 are not only for fruit and vegetable and pulses, but also for timber, fibers, and energy. I didn't find data on how this is split up and how much water goes to fruit and vegetables. But as you can see, this 29% of the agricultural water is about 21% of this available fresh water, so it's the biggest user of water in the animal agriculture industry. Again, we look at the different food products, and as you can see, the freshwater withdrawals, also the animal products are on the high end. While plant-based products are very, don't use too much water. Novel entities, that was a very huge, was huge in red on the planetary boundaries. Those are artificial chemicals and things we humans somehow invented and produce and bring into nature. And as you can see, pesticides and antibiotics are also very, very, are a big part of this problem. So also here we have agriculture, and because of the part of land we use for animal products, pesticides are mostly from animal agriculture. Climate change, the least problem, as I said in the beginning. There was a study in 2020, I think. I can't read it from here. 2020. And it said, even if fossil fuel emissions were eliminated immediately, say we have a wonder and from tomorrow on we have only renewable energy, the emissions from the global food system alone would make it impossible to limit warming to 1.5 degrees and difficult even to realize the 2 degrees target. So I always like to say, when we don't change what we eat, then all our efforts to reduce greenhouse gases with fossil fuel industry are for nothing, because our food system alone will cross this threshold of 1.5 degrees. As you can see, food is the second largest source of greenhouse gas emissions. You see on the left side, 74% are non-food emissions, and food with 26% is the second largest greenhouse gas source. And when you take out this supply chain, I couldn't attribute it to animal products or plant-based products. Then this column divides into 46.5% for animal products and 35.5% for plant-based products. So even here, you see in the overall greenhouse gas emissions, animal agriculture is the main problem. When you look at different diets in Europe, it doesn't matter, you see all are very similar. And at the top you see the average in the European Union, and you see 83% of our greenhouse gas emissions, of the food-related greenhouse gas emissions, come from dairy, meat and eggs. And only 17% in our diet in Europe come from plant-based products. Here again, we have a stat about the food products we consume. And as you can see on the top, again, there are the red products, the animal products, and on the bottom, there are the plant-based products. As you can see, chocolate and coffee and palm oil is also very high. So if we want to cut down on our greenhouse gas emissions, not only a plant-based diet is good, but also a diet without chocolate and coffee. Not very nice news, I think. Even the IPCC in its 2019 report said that a vegan diet, you see it on the top column, a vegan diet has the biggest potential for mitigating greenhouse gas emissions. So this column is the amount of greenhouse gas you can reduce when switching to a vegan diet. Until now I talked about the emissions of our food, but there's also carbon opportunity cost. What does it mean? When you use land to produce animal products, then on this land there can't be something else, like for example a carbon sink, like a forest or wetlands. And the carbon opportunity cost of animal-sourced food production on land was calculated to, it's very small, a vegan diet can remove 547 gigatons of CO2 and this is an equivalent to the last 16 years of fossil fuel greenhouse gas emissions. So by going vegan, we can prolong our budget, our CO2 budget, 16 years. Of course, not right away. Those trees have to grow, but it sets off 16 years of the last 16 years of our fossil fuel emissions. This is a map that shows all the areas that could be freed up. If all the world went vegan, then this is the area we could free up and give back to nature, and reforest to get carbon sinks. In total, this is an area of about the size of the continent of Africa. Those 75% land use we could reduce when all people went vegan. And this is the real distribution of those areas we could reforest. Yeah, remember the most important question: which human activity is the main driver of all those planetary boundaries? As you may have guessed, it's animal agriculture. Animal agriculture is a leading cause of global warming, and it's the leading cause of biodiversity loss, large-scale deforestation, water depletion, soil degradation, ocean dead zones, and novel entities. This didn't fit on the on the graphic. Remember the second most important question: what can I do to help? This slide is yellow because this is the moment where the guy on the stage tells you to go vegan. Joseph Poor, the lead author of the meta-analysis I mentioned before, said after his study, a vegan diet is probably the single biggest way to reduce your impact on planet Earth. Not just greenhouse gases, but global acidification, eutrophication, land use, and water use. It is far bigger than cutting down on your flights or buying an electric car. And this is because it's such a huge impact, because cars only make greenhouse gases, and planes only make greenhouse gases, and our diet affects so many other areas of our planetary boundaries. So it's time to stop ignoring the cow in the room. What's the Plant-Based Treaty? The Plant-Based Treaty is designed to create bottom-up pressure for governments and world leaders to negotiate a global agreement to halt the impact of animal agriculture on the planet. We modeled it according to the Fossil Fuel Treaty. That's a campaign that seeks to reduce our fossil fuel emissions, and the Plant-Based Treaty is designed to accelerate this dietary change and this agricultural turnaround. And we are collecting endorsements of people, of NGOs, of companies, of cities, and governments to build up pressure and tell those governments of the world we need this and the people want this. Our core principles: first, relinquish. We need to stop the problem from getting worse. So we don't want more land use change, including deforestation, for expansion of the animal agriculture industry. Second, redirect. We need an active transformation of the subsidies, taxes, and public information campaigns. We need to promote a transition away from animal-based food systems to a plant-based food system. And thirdly, restore. To actively heal the problem, build resilience, and mitigate climate change means we need to restore key ecosystems and reforest the earth. And we are able to do that when we don't use up too much land for producing animal products. There you can see our grand strategic objective. On the bottom you see advocacy, partnerships, coalitions, like partnership with the ESA. I'm here. There are different campaigns we are doing globally, and then you see the three phases: relinquish, redirect, and restore. And the grand strategic target is to develop a plant-based food system that would enable us to live within our planetary boundaries and reforest the Earth. So, endorse the plant-based treaty. You can grab your phones now and scan the QR code if you haven't done yet. Yeah, and I think this is the most important thing we can do, because even if you're not vegan right now, you can ask the governments to change the way we produce our food. It's the same like even if you can't go by bike to your work, and you need to use the car because you live somewhere, I don't know, where no buses go, you can, at the same time that you use the car, you can ask your government to build more bus lanes and more train infrastructure. So the endorsement is very easy. You just put in your name, email address, and your city, and then we can collect all the signatures to put pressure on the governments for a better and for a food system that allows us to reach a livable future. Thank you. I'll go back one slide, so those of you who haven't scanned the QR code. Yeah, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Then I have a question. Who of you thinks about going vegan, or maybe going a little more plant-based right now after those information?
I'm flexitarian, so I'm trying to go slowly to the vegetarian. I don't know if also vegan.
Mm-hmm.
But, yes, I'm also reducing meat. Maybe I eat only twice per year. And I'm also trying to reduce the dairy product. So I already stopped to drink the normal milk.
Yeah.
And also the yogurt, so I buy the one from soya, or maybe with sunflower, the strawberry.
That's great. The easiest first step is to swap cow's milk for plant milk. That's a huge difference. And the second step would be to reduce the amount of ruminant meat, like beef and lamb, because that's on the highest, that's on top. For example, poultry meat or tofu. Because in the end, we all need to eat something. And I always say, eating something different in order to survive in the future, in order to for our children to survive on this planet in the future, is the easiest change you can do. Because when you sell your car and do everything by bike or by train, it's a lot of time that you need, and it's less comfortable. Or when you buy solar panels for your house, then you need a house first, and you need money to buy this. But going vegan is the easiest, most direct, and most effective measure everyone can take. Everyone. And so, and it's cheap, because we need to buy food anyways. Yeah. So I hope I have inspired you for a little change, for a little dietary change. It's really not hard, and in the end, it's even a win-win situation, because you even improve your health. And what we shouldn't forget, you improve your relationship to our fellow Earthlings, the animals, because when we don't kill them anymore, they are very thankful. Thank you for listening. Any more questions? Yes? You go first.
Just a question. There was one slide where you would show the impact of different diets on, I think, how the climate would improve. I was just, because you just explained it very briefly, I would like to ask this question.
Those different European diets?
Yes.
Yes?
No, was I guess you a few later. One
Next
more.
one.
This one.
This, yeah. Yeah, those are different diets: vegetarian, flexitarian, limited meat and dairy, healthy, limited sugar, meat and dairy, fair and frugal. Those are dietary definitions. I can't quite grasp. Vegan, I know, it's without animals, but the rest is some mixture of, I don't know, food produce that makes this, mitigation, I don't know the word in English. Yeah. And on the bottom is Mediterranean, so it's not even the typical European heavy on animal products diet. So those are all the diets who already reduce greenhouse gases in comparison to what we have now.
So it's compared to currently the European average.
Yes, compared to the European average. Global. It's this is global. So that means in Europe we are consuming much more animal products. So our potential, our mitigation potential, that was the word before, our mitigation potential in Europe is even higher when we go vegan. Mm-hmm.
I just want to comment on cheap. It's not cheap. The vegan food is more expensive than other food.
It depends, yeah.
It has a donor shop.
Yeah.
I ask for vegetarian, what they call it, something. It's way more expensive.
But not if you cook yourself.
Even when I cook myself and I buy the bio, and I'm not sure if the bio is a bio.
Mm-hmm.
Another problem.
But do you compare this to bio meat? Because then that's also very expensive.
Yeah, but sometimes I go for bio meat. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually I only buy bio meat, but still it's more expensive. And I'm not sure if it's 100% bio.
Yeah, if it's bio or organic is another story. But when you want to swap meat for industrial produced vegan meat alternatives, it's expensive. They are still more expensive because of the development costs and because of the small numbers they produce. But this will get cheaper as more people consume those products. But when you go for fruit, vegetables, pulses, lentils, beans, they're they're the cheapest products in the supermarket. Even though, imagine it's more expensive all the time. What we pay is for a better future. We pay a little bit more to have a survivable future. So I think the price is justified. But it will get cheaper over time, hopefully. Yeah.
Also, you didn't really mention the health aspect. It can actually be healthier too.
Yes, of course. Well, this is not so easy. I'm no health expert, but when you on a vegan diet, on a good plant healthy vegan diet, it's definitely healthier than eating the average animal product diet. But chips and Coca-Cola are also vegan, and this is not healthy at all. So you need to watch out for what you eat, even if you eat animal products. But the American Dietary Association says a vegan diet is healthy in all stages of life, even pregnancy or athletes or little children. So if you look for the nutrients, for vitamin B12, vitamin D, and I always say eat the rainbow. So when you look for different colors of food, like greens and reds and yellows and so, then you'll have a wide spectrum of nutrients and shouldn't have to worry about your health. Okay, thank you very much. Oh.
So one question is about an information that I'm not getting, and what is the impact of eating vegetables and fruits that come from the other side of the world?
Okay, yeah. Very good question.
And non-seasonal fruits.
Mm-hmm. That's an argument I get a lot. People say, I only buy regional and seasonal. Mm. On the top you see, can you read those? Nah, it's a very bad graphic. So on the top you have land use change, that's the green column. Farm stage, that is it's the sectors where greenhouse gases are emitted. Yeah, the green is deforestation. The brown is the greenhouse gases on the farm, like the gases that ruminants burp, but also the carbon that maybe the machines emit while harvesting. Then you have animal feed in orange, and then blue, red, yellow, and gray. That's all like retail and transport and processing and packaging. And when you look at those columns, then you see there's a lot of green, a lot of brown, a lot of orange, but transport, retail, packaging, and processing is the smallest fraction at the end. So, for example, it's just a joke. You can fly your bananas 100 times around the world and still have a smaller greenhouse gas footprint than when you eat ruminant meat from the farmer next door. So the question of animal product or plant-based product is much more important than the question of did it travel far or not so far. Of course, with the plant-based products, it's a bigger fraction. So when the plant-based product has a small footprint anyway, then it's important if it comes from overseas or if it comes from the neighbor town, of course. Then, but in comparison to animal products, it doesn't matter where your food comes from. Yeah. Okay, any more questions?
Is it possible you share this information?
I could. Can you email the presentation? Yeah. Yeah, no problem. I don't know. Do we have a list where you can put your names, or do you know who to send those information?
No registration for this, so I think I'll just remember who and try to send it to.
You know them all.
Well, more than
So you can have a look if they go for the plant-based meals in the canteen in the future. Yeah. So she'll keep an eye on you.
On average, what is the percentage of...
I'm sorry.
On average diet,
Yeah.
what is the percentage of calories from meat, from animal-based products?
Okay. Globally, it's 18%. But in Europe or America or Australia, it's higher, but I don't have the number. I don't have the number. I recommend the meta-analysis from Poor and Nemetsek 2018. It's called Reducing Food's Environmental Impact by Consumers and Producers.
My question was because if we all go vegan,
Mm-hmm.
that's 75% of land that is used for animals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the number, but
Yeah, 75%.
you will need to replace that with more crops.
No, it's no. It's just like right now we use 83% of land for animal products. And those provide 18% of the global calorie intake. To substitute those 18% of animal product calories, we need to have 7% more. So now we have 17% land for plant-based, and we need 24% of land for plant-based food. And so the rest is free for reforestation.
Yeah, sure. I just expected the calorie percentage coming from meat way higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite ineffective. The problem is the trophic levels. When a cow, for example, eats 1,000 calories, then you get 100 calories animal product. The rest is body temperature and movement and excrements and things you can't use. And so it's 10 times more you need to harvest to feed the cow, and then you eat the animal product. When you eat plant food directly, you only need to plant and harvest 100 calories. Yeah. Okay. I guess we'll do this tomorrow at 3 again.
Yeah, you'll be here anyway, right?
I'll be here. So if you found this talk interesting, please tell your colleagues to come. Thank you very much. Has everyone scanned the QR code? If not, it's plantbasedtreaty.org. Thank you very much.